You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Welcome, listeners, to another episode of All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast here on BQN and the Fandom Podcast Network. I'm your host, Amy, and with me today is Christos. Hello, my dear. How are you?
I am on cloud nine, I guess, for lots of great reasons. So some great joy and gratitude on my end of the world today. How are you, Miss Amy?
Yes, I am doing well. I just wanted to wish you a very warm, happy birthday. You are now another year older. So how was your year of 47? How did that go out?
You know, 47 went out very nicely. It was weird not to celebrate my birthday at STLV with all of you guys because STLV is just slightly later this year, but it allowed me to enjoy my birthday with all of my besties here in San Diego, and they did not let up in making me feel special Friday night between a very nice dinner at a new vegan restaurant here in San Diego and then karaoke at Diversionary Theater. I probably made an ass of myself, but I had fun, and I wasn't the only one making an ass of myself. But, 47, I think it's that year. I don't know what it is, but, I end my 47th year, like, I feel wiser and
Mhm.
sharper. And, I've always kind of been like this, but I could give two flying Fs about drama anymore. Like, I am
Mhm.
so like, I will shut it down. Like, get your act together. I'm no victim strategies around me. Just like, I just call it out. And it's like, I feel, I don't know. I just feel much more emboldened, I guess, as I'm getting older. And I'm just not afraid to say what I think, which is hard for some people, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But with that age and wisdom, it allows you the freedom, I think, to say, like, get rid of the drama tactfully. You're not being a jerk, but you are setting clear boundaries for your life, which just frees you. Isn't it so amazing? I
You
love
know,
it.
Yeah, between, my talks with Kelvin this summer when we were in Spain, and I had two interns this summer at work. They were both 21 and in college from different universities. And I feel like I just turned this corner from being just this guy to being this mentor and
Mm.
and talking to people. And I've learned enough that I can impart something valuable. And like one of my little interns graduated on Friday. I call it graduated, but he gave us his capstone presentation about what he learned at his 2 months with us this summer. And I was so impressed that he was listening because all this time I've been spending with him and talking, and he was listening, and it showed in his presentation back. And, that just makes you feel like, okay, you're I feel like I'm adding value to the next generation. And that is kind of nice. Having no kids myself or anything like that.
Mhm.
You as a teacher probably understand that probably better than I do, but it's a good feeling.
Yeah, definitely. So, how else did you celebrate your birthday? For our viewers, who are
Yeah.
watching.
Or if you're just checking out all of my socials because I can't stop talking about it. But I finally did what I thought about doing exactly 2 years ago after seeing Ad Astra per Aspera. I'll still call it after 2 years one of my top 5 Star Trek episodes.
Mhm.
I kind of said after that episode, which really moved me and continues to move me, that I would love to get a Pride Delta and the words Ad Astra per Aspera tattooed on my arm. And last night I did that.
Well, yes, and it is so gorgeous, and you went to our very own associate producer and good friend, JJ, to
Yes.
get this design, right?
Yeah. And shout out to JJ, who is like apparently working like a madman making badges for STLV. But he took the time out to make not only one, but two passes with my input on the tattoo. And it made everything so easy when I had my consult with the artist. We went from talking to having a design within and starting the tattoo in like 40 minutes, which is really fast if you've ever got a tattoo before. So JJ, your art, your rendering just made it easy. And what really made me happy the most was I was able to do the Ad Astra per Aspera using the Final Frontier font, which is very prominent in, say, like the credits for the original series movies and the way they say, like the way Star Trek looks in the Voyager credits and things like that. So it has that extra little bit of, yeah, I know that font.
Truckness too. And
Correctness,
the
yeah.
yeah, and it's the same font as your what's the T-Bev, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I use the same
So
font generator that I make the credits with for that. So
so that's another layer of specialness to
yeah,
it.
yeah. That would
Yeah.
be a fun tattoo, but I think it would be too self-serving to put myself on my arm. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I couldn't be happier with it. It turned out great. And honestly, um, feel pretty good this morning. It hurt like hell last night, but it stopped bleeding pretty fast and I'm just kind of in the healing phase now.
Okay. Well, I can't wait
Hey,
to see
when
it
are you
in
getting
person,
yours?
but
When are you getting You have to come out.
um,
I got a
yeah.
guy.
Yeah, you got a guy. So, yes, I will get to see it in person because you are coming even an extra day early, but to STLV. Very excited everyone is coming. So, oh my gosh, I recently just saw that the Rio is going all out for STLV. And they usually have, the cute drinks and stuff, but we're talking almost every restaurant is having like food items that are renaming and drinks that are showing up on different days. So I'm like
Yeah. Hey,
super the Rio's going all in.
yeah, do you wanna go to that champagne tasting that they have on there? Did you see that? It's like
Oh,
55 bucks. Let's talk offline, but I
let's
think that
talk on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So did you see, like, what's really exciting is the nightly movie showings right next to the Masquerade bar?
Yes, 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 yes. So
Yeah.
I went to the Rio during March Madness and they had screens up, they had the chairs and that whole thing was set up and I'm like, this is pretty cool. And then to read that and it's like, we're going to have Star Trek being played while we're out the bar, like it couldn't be
I
better.
mean, it starts Tuesday night with the motion picture at 10 PM, and I'm like, I love the motion picture, so I was
Yes.
actually texting Kelvin and James because I think they're one of the few people who will be there on Tuesday night. I'm like, okay, after dinner, we need to like hightail it back to the Rio so we can kind of have drinks at the Masquerade. I don't like even want to sit in front of it, just to be able to kind of be at the bar there at the Rio and look up and see and hear it while we're carrying on the way we always do. It
Yep.
just sounds like the lovely backdrop.
And we have been saying that the whole time, like, why don't they
Yeah,
just filter in, pipe in
yeah,
Star Trek music, and now we're gonna be having a movie playing.
yeah.
It's
Well,
gonna be perfect.
as a marketer, I think it's very genius and about damn time, but I'm kinda looking forward to coming back. The Rio was pretty remodeled last time, but they were still
Mhm.
working and it still had a lot to do, so I know you've been over there, but I don't know how far they've gotten, and we seems like we have also, like, we have dinners already scheduled and outings to, like, the Empire Strips Back burlesque show and birthday dinners to celebrate for multiple people, and it just
Mhm.
it's gonna be a week. I have already got some stuff packed, including stuff for you. But, I'm remembering to bring my vinyl copy of Subspace Rhapsody, and I'm gonna get that autographed by a few people. That's my, "Okay, this is what I'm gonna do this year with my
Mhm.
autographs." So,
Okay,
I
okay.
forgot it last year,
Oh, right.
but I actually had a tattoo to show some of those people now, so my goal is also to get a picture with, Rebecca Romaine, with my
Mm.
tattoo. That's
Yes.
another thing that came on the list, so
Mhm. Mhm.
what about you? Any goals
And
besides dinners this year? Anything you wanna get done this year, like, besides carrying on with everybody?
well, I do have a poster that was shipped to me, from our good friend Stevie in Australia, and he's requested a couple of autographs. So I'm on poster duty for Stevie. Am And I wanted to wear, and I posted it in the Discord, the motion picture outfit.
So fabulous, Amy. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know. I just don't know how after all these years TMP has become so iconic for me. Like I hated it when I was a kid, but
right.
it's like my comfort movie now. And
Yes.
you have an original, is it screen worn?
Green worn. Yes.
Jesus. And it fits you
Uniform.
beautifully.
I can't even believe it. Like, I took it out and I'm like, there is no way. I'm like, it's a stand-up outfit. If I sit down, but it looks
Yeah.
good standing up.
Yeah. I'm also kinda hoping too, like, we have, like, speaking of cosplay and stuff, like, remember that ladies' place that had the Wrath of Khan sweaters last year?
Yes.
I'm excited to
Um,
see if they bust something out. Like, I was really pushing them to make the Bev last coat, and they seemed like the light bulbs were going on.
yeah, it'll be
So,
interesting to
let's
see
see
if
if they
they're
follow
there.
through. And
Yeah.
fan sets has the Nemesis collection. Like,
I know.
it
The
looks so
best.
good too.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's where Troy just, like, shines, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I
I
love
think so.
her and
I
wha
don't dislike Nemesis. I think it's a good movie. And actually, now that it's not the end of the TNG crew, it
yeah.
sits a little better with me. It's not their final story,
Yeah.
you know? So it does actually just it takes some of the pressure off that movie, actually.
Yeah, it does,
That's
and
a good way
I've
of saying
always liked it, so, yeah.
it. All right. Well, did you watch Strange New Worlds this week, darling?
Oh, of course I did a couple times,
Yeah.
Space Adventure Hour. Oh,
I
what
will
are your
also I
thoughts on it?
well, it's controversial if you're reading the comments out there in the zeitgeist. I had mixed feelings, to be honest with you. Um, I will say I like the episode. I do like the episode. If it was a 26 episode season, there'd be no problem here for me. But I feel like we're 4 episodes in and we've already had two kind of ridiculous episodes that are just kind of like almost no consequences, just something going on. And
Mhm.
I like it, but I can't help but tell you, I don't know if they're leaning in with the fan service. I mean, obviously, there's if there's real big callbacks to like the big goodbye in Elementary
Mhm.
Dear Data. I mean, the idea it's a murder mystery on the holodeck and the safeties are broken and people have died and we're trying to solve a mystery
That
to
only she can solve, very
right.
similar.
And then with the Elementary Dear Data, let's create a foe that could challenge Data. And that's
Right?
exactly what they do with La'an in this. And
Exactly.
so there's those throwbacks, but then on the same time, the tribute to Star Trek that's in here with this fake show that they're all working on and how, Sunny is it Sunny Hill, the La'an's character? Or not La'an's, I'm sorry, Una's character. I mean,
Yeah.
she's literally playing Lucille Ball,
Mhm.
and Pike is playing Gene Roddenberry, and
Yes.
there's and oh my god, Kirk's over the top Kirk, Shatner.
William Shatner.
Oh my god.
Hilarious.
So,
Love it.
all that is really fun for me, and I really enjoy it, but I'm more like, there is this idea that really we had the holodeck 100 years before we got the holodeck, and we're gonna, put a couple of lines in there to make it canon, so we don't break canon. I
Right.
don't know, I say so it's fun, I enjoy it, but I'm kinda ready to, like, you guys I feel like we're having more fun because we're the actor trying to make it more fun for the actors. Let's get to some meaty adventures and give me some good sci-fi. Give me strange new worlds is what I want. So I'm just kind of waiting for that, I guess. So,
So
Amy,
you don't feel that they're doing, like, serious and then fun and like, it's 50-50. We've got some meaty 2
yeah, but
very meaty episodes.
yeah, I'm getting whiplash though. Like,
Yeah.
like serious and then fun, serious and then fun. Maybe okay, so jury's out. We have 6 more episodes left. So, if you come in here and give me some good sci-fi on the second half, this is all gonna feel a lot better to me.
Yeah.
If we continue this serious fun, season 3 is probably not going to end up being my favorite season. And oh, by the way, like season 2 is some of the best Star Trek ever. So
Yes.
so you set your bar high. So I
Hmm.
don't know. I was watching Ad Astra Per Spera last night because I was all feeling, having wine after my tattoo, which you're
Yeah.
not supposed to drink, but I did. And I'm feeling the feels, and I watched one of my episode, and I was looking at Battelle, and all I could think of, I'm going to rename her Mother of Gorns.
Yes.
like, she's like from Game of Thrones. Like, what's her face? She's the mother of all Gorns. I'm like,
Yes.
I don't know. I just
Khaleesi. Yeah.
listeners, I'm just me. If you've spent real time with me, my brain just goes everywhere. So,
Yeah.
anyways, but
Well, so I have a question for you. With this episode of Space Adventure Hour, should we add it to our holodeck malfunction series or our Murder She Wrote series?
I say holodeck malfunctions.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be both. It could be
I
both.
know.
But, I'd say put it on holodeck malfunctions at least a year from now. Infinite diversity and all those guys are going to,
Yeah,
they're going to spend 2 hours talking about 1 hour. And that is a feat, let me tell you.
yeah,
But we give it some breathing room. I also think that sometimes these episodes feel just like our Discovery recap from last year. It hits different a year later, at
yeah,
least,
it
so
does. Yeah,
let this marinate a little while and then we'll review.
yes. Well, it is a good lead into what we're talking about today because we are covering a Murder She Wrote series. It's just so funny how sometimes things really line up. It's bizarre.
Yeah, we have a lot of that happen to us on this one, on this
Yeah,
podcast.
I know. It's just bizarro. So, what are we covering, Christos?
So as you said, our Murder She Wrote series, and this is only part 2. We're another part 2. We keep on having our part 2. So I think because a little while back we were creating series left and right.
Yeah.
So this is Voyager, season 1, episode 8. So very, 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 very early Voyager. It's Post Facto, and this is where Tom Paris is convicted of murder. He denies having committed the crime, even though the images extracted from the victim's own memory seem to prove his guilt. And Amy, does this remind you of another episode a little bit? Because I had this
You
little feeling.
know, yeah, I was like, have we not seen this? TNG's A Matter of Perspective, like Riker and maybe an affair with this younger wife. I just was like, this is a repeat. But then it was also reminded me of Deep Space Nine's Hard Time with O'Brien and how he had that sentence and it was all in his mind.
Yeah.
And so Paris has to do this sentence every 14 hours, which seems like torture to me. But
Well, and it is quite torture to him because the alien technology doesn't have the same effect on humans, and he actually starts to physically suffer because of it.
yeah, deteriorate. And yeah, that one line, well, we don't want him to suffer. We're not torturing him. I'm like,
Too late.
reliving it for the rest of your life every day? That's
Squeeze me.
torture. Yeah.
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 There was some,
So,
they had similarities, but I did like that it did go in a different direction. But that trope of like other people describing our characters, the way other people described Riker and the way other people described Tom Paris, and it was like out of character for them. I feel like that was the most like jarring similarity. But I did like Tuvok taking on the role of Jessica Fletcher in this episode. It's good Tuvok in this episode.
yeah. So I wanted to ask, like, was Tuvok the right person in this crew to solve it?
Oh, definitely. I feel like that's his job. I mean, first off, he's like the head of security, right? And he's Vulcan. If I were even just like Janeway, and maybe he wasn't the head of security, I'm like, a Vulcan is a good impartial person hope to put on something like this because they can control their bias, right? So
Hmm.
Vulcans are naturally have a good disposition, I think, to be a mediator, an inspector, an investigator, So yeah, Tuvok 100%. This is a good Tuvok episode, by the way. I like it.
Yeah. Is it a Paris or is it Tuvok episode? I'm curious on that.
Well, it's like this, you could call it a Paris episode because it is too. Fair enough. But, Shatner, Riker, I should say Kirk, Riker,
Mm-hmm.
Paris, that thing between their legs is always getting them in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it, guys. They need, if anything, I think Janeway needed to. He didn't seem to get any consequences for his role in this because he did leave himself open to what happened to him. He made himself
Mm-hmm.
a target, right? So even though he may
Yeah.
have been seduced, right? Yeah. Sorry, getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, no, well, because it's sort of the same story, like we were talking about, a matter of perspective, where, comes down to the planet, gets involved with an
The wife,
alien there. And
who's married.
yeah, who's married? And it's this, we've seen how many times this young woman being married to an old scientist and not happy in their marriage. Like we saw that in like season TNG, the old crazy guy. Oh,
No, you're thinking of the one with Troy.
with Dr.
Where Troy
That
gets
one too?
see, that's why, some of these tropes start popping up in Star Trek, and that's why it's like holodeck malfunctions bothered me. It's a trope already. Like, move on, go be super
Yeah.
creative. I mean, I get
So
it with season 1 Voyager, so we're in like 1995, I think, when this episode came out.
mhm.
So it wasn't quite, mm, you know, it was not
Yeah,
cool
so
then.
did Voyager do it well, or was this just a rehash? I felt like it was a rehash.
It was a bit of a rehash, but I will say, first off, I had no recollection of ever having seen this episode before, and I know I have. I've
Right.
watched season 1 of Voyager. I watched it first run when it came out every week. I was in the second half of my senior year of high school when this aired, and I was watching Voyager on UPN on Monday nights. I can still remember when it was on. So I've seen this episode, but when I watched it this morning, I was like, I don't remember which had made it good and made it fun.
Yeah.
But I I thought they were gonna do a mind meld on the dog. I thought that's how they were gonna find out what happened. I like, they're gonna do
Oh
he's
my
gonna
gosh.
mind meld that little puppy, and that puppy's gonna spill the tea. Not quite how it ended, folks. Not quite
No.
how it ended.
But without the mind meld, we couldn't have solved the mystery. I mean, it was that, so again, making Tuvok really the only person who could have solved this.
Right. And, I will say, everyone knows one of my favorite movies is Clue the movie, and I do feel like Tuvok is Mr. Body at the end of the movie, Wadsworth, Mr. Body, whatever, telling you how it all happened. And it did give me that Clue vibe, which is awesome, awesome.
Yes.
Another reason I think I did enjoy it because, how the episode ends, I mean, the similarities to matter of perspective are there, but the motivations for why everything happened and how the mystery is solved is, I think, fresh in many ways. So that's why it kind of redeemed itself for me in the second half. I felt like, yeah,
Mhm.
first half is very matter of perspective, but it goes in a different direction. But yeah, the mind meld was interesting. What also struck me weird? Like, they had no problem with taking Paris back to the ship. I mean, Voyager could have just like taken the implant out and skipped town, man. There was
Yeah.
done. We're out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That seemed a little bit weird. Like, okay, I don't. But the
Yeah.
mind meld was like, yes, we've seen mind melds before, and like I said, early Voyager. You have to put yourself in when was this episode made, and it's very, 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 very early Voyager. So I think it's good.
Well, and because we didn't see a lot of mind melds in Deep Space Nine.
No, because we don't have a Vulcan, right?
Yeah. So, like, it's Voyager's first. So, like, it's pretty special moment. I was thinking They spun it around on me because I was like, oh, because Paris was decaying and his brain was not accepting the device. And Tuvok's like, well, I can mind meld. And I was thinking, oh, this is really good. He can get the information and he can help support Paris's brain, and help him through these incidences but no, they took it completely different where Tuvok got hurt because
Yeah.
of it, and I was
Oh,
like, "Oh my gosh, this is." I
yeah.
liked that spin because I was going a different direction.
And did you catch Mother Janeway twice in this episode? First, when they're on the planet and Tom is suffering from the memory flashback and he falls unconscious, and she's like basically almost hugging him for the beam up and throwing him into her
Yes.
bosom. And then when Tuvok falls over after having the mind meld, Janeway's there catching him, putting her in her bosom. And I'm like,
Oh,
"Mm, go
Mother
Mother
Janeway.
Janeway."
Yes.
I like Janeway in this episode. She's kinda chill. She's strong, but she's chill, you know?
Yeah,
I'm like, she's
yeah.
letting this all go down. She's listening. There's some other stuff in here. Like, we have Neelix, right? He's back in that early role when you could actually almost like Neelix because
Mhm.
he's truly advising her and
Ye
giving her information, and I love the conversations. I guess I'm getting to some assimilations here, really, but I like Cass helping the doctor, trying to, like, help figure himself out, and she's pointing out how he's more human than he in his way he is operates and he
processes. Yeah,
realizes, and the throwbacks to him wanting a name that we still don't get until maybe the final when he gets named Joe, but that's in an alternate future anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, all of that, and then I love, I'm giving you some assimilations just because I'm gonna tell you about some things I love, but I liked I actually like Chakotay and B'Elanna in their one little moment in this whole episode when they use their
Mhm.
Maquis trick on the
Maquis.
bridge, and Janeway's just like, "Yeah, I would have smelled this coming a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
this is an old trick in the book. I would have smelled this coming." And I love that because I'm, like, thinking, yeah, the whole idea of playing possum, right, is
Yeah.
that's old, right? But she's like, "Yeah, you would have never fooled me with this." And I'm like, "That's our Janeway."
Yeah, but we're in new
So
territory, so all those old tricks are new again.
yeah, so like I said, I'm even smiling talking about some of this stuff. It's actually there are some really good Voyager stuff in this episode that, I really like.
Yeah. So, the resolution, I'm still having a hard time, Crystal, so maybe you can, connect the dots. So this woman, Liddell,
Yeah,
was she wanting to be with the doctor? Because the doctor was the one who, you know,
yeah.
killed, but
So there's 2 things that were
did she
happening here. Yes,
Yeah.
they're having the affair, the doctor and Liddell, and because she, like, runs to him and she tries to go, "Oh, save me," at the end. She tries to give him a hug and everything. And
Right.
let's not mistake the 2 that, in the memory, that's him making out with her and everything. So and then they're conspiring with the enemy, the Nerati or whatever they called. They're
Mhm.
betraying their planet to the
Yeah, and
enemy.
I didn't understand why the doctor would do that either.
Yeah, I don't know that I think that's one you could call that a regeneration. They don't explain that very well. But man, once Tuvok starts to connect these dots, I love how fast the prime minister swings to Janeway and Tuvok's side of things. Like, oh wait, this is this is, you're committing sedition here. Like, what's going on here? You know, like
Mhm.
like he, it's some of it's almost too easy, but
Mhm.
we have 45 minutes, folks. We got to get this done. Um,
Yeah,
but
it got
yeah,
wrapped up really quick, which is why I'm asking all these questions.
no, it's good. Like I said, I kind of liked it. Was very clue to me, like the way all but we don't clearly define why the doctor and the guy's wife, the guy who's creating all the weapons, which are helping against the enemy, why they're betraying their people. It's just,
Yeah.
like what's the politics there, and you know, I mean, obviously it's a prime directive thing. We can't interfere with that, but I'd love to know, like, why why they would betray their planet. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I was reading in Memory Alpha that Dr. Wren was an alien to that planet. so they sort of made it that, but I'm like, you can still be an alien and not be a spy. Oh, I
Yeah.
don't
Maybe that's
yeah.
what it is. I don't know. Yeah, we just don't get that quite covered, but
Yeah.
that could have used an extra 2 minutes or minute.
Yep.
They could have written that in. They could have just given that little bit of yeah, we never know. We don't know the motivation for why the doctor did what he did.
Yeah, and so that's it just falls short for me on that, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think we are
I guess
naturally
that's a
talking
regeneration.
yeah, I'm gonna say I think we're naturally talking about a few of these things.
Yeah. One thing yeah, let's jump into our regenerations and assimilations. I really enjoyed the interesting camera angles, especially when Harry Kim came back, and it's just like this. It's Harry Kim on your big TV, you know? And then you've got the angle coming up as if we are Harry Kim's perspective looking up at Janeway and Tuvok. Like, I just was very impressed, and then I looked, and it was LeVar Burton directing, so of course, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't oh, there you go. See, I do a really good job. I don't read your notes before we go live, so it
Yeah.
doesn't need so listeners, you are really getting my reaction on some things, but yeah, LeVar Burton, he does a really good job as a director, and this is a good one. I mean, he also directed Extinction, which we talked about like 2 episodes ago, and so he
Mhm.
also has directed some stinkers, but he owned that one. He
Yeah.
did say that it's a stinker episode, but this is, I wonder if these guys ever like did some deja vu. Didn't we do this on TNG? I mean, do you think maybe they went through I better do a
I
good
don't
job
know that
directing
the
on
actors know that much, but the script writers should,
Yeah.
especially, like,
Well,
some of them that
mhm.
have been writing on TNG.
Yeah, I think we talked about the similar plot to TNG season 3 I put in here. Yeah, you're right, the camera angles are good. I think this is just a really good murder mystery. It's fun. I think I liked this is a pretty good episode for first year Voyager.
Yeah,
And so, that's an assimilation in itself.
yeah, and like you said before, like, these moments that just make you remember, "Oh, yeah, this is first season," like, Neelix having a purpose that was meaningful, um, Kess and the doctor trying to figure out his name, I really enjoyed that, and, like, how she was like, "Your processes are the same that I do when I take information and make
Yeah.
a decision." Like, it
And
was so perfectly lined up. I'm like, "Well, yeah, come on, just choose a name, doctor."
yeah, and you see a little bit of, like, the doctor training her to be a nurse and how she's learning, and then, they lend a little bit of time to that, and maybe that's fun, maybe you could say they should have given that extra scene to finishing the plot of the A plot a little better,
Mm. Mhm.
but I do like seeing that character development moment when they give you
Yeah.
just a minute or so here and there and you see character development. It's always fun watching it backwards because I think when we rewatch Voyager, most people rewatch season 4 and forward from 7 and 9 joining the show, and
Mhm.
the first 3 seasons of Voyager are often not talked about as much, very similarly to Deep Space Nine. Like, after
Mhm.
Worf joined the show
Worf.
in season 4, his show changes and it got better and,
Mhm.
so, yeah, sometimes going back, maybe, like, to my point, I felt like I watched this episode for the first time today.
Yeah. Yeah. So, one regeneration that I have, like, every I swear, person that Tom gets involved with is a blonde. Like, why does he have this such a typical girl that he falls for? It's a blonde every time. The
And it
Delaney
took
sisters,
yeah,
that the one where they go back to San Francisco or whatever, like,
yeah.
always a blonde. And
But but
they're
but
the same looking type of
well,
character.
until he meets the right one, the brunette who kicks his
Oh,
ass and marries him.
yeah.
It took a brunette to really get him under control.
Yes, that's what it is. So,
Yeah. I like that headcanon. Like, you're right. He's chasing the blondes, and it's just the boyish stuff, and it takes a brunette to get him.
yes. Okay, very good. I'll take
Yeah.
that. You've now flip that,
Yeah.
so good job. You zhuzhed it up.
Zhuzhed it. So I watched Voyager this morning on my 75-inch TV, and I will say my ask is that Voyager get remastered in 4K or whatever, just like they did TNG. And I know all the fans would love to see it, at least go to Blu-ray or whatever. But especially the space battle scenes were just almost blurry on my TV, where they were venting all the plasmas and playing possum, as I said.
Yeah.
Um, it was blurry, and I'm like, "Oh, come on, man, we need to redo our special effects." I know CBS is broke, so we ain't gonna see. Well, they're not broke anymore. They have Larry Ellison money, so that could be one of my asks for the future is give us our DS9 and Voyager remasters. So
Yeah.
all of the original Treks will be in HD because they did it for TNG and TOS. And Enterprise is already in HD, so
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
all right.
We've got a Voyager anniversary coming up. Let's get that done.
What's going on now?
Yeah.
In fact, that's a big focus. I guess that's the big focus of STLV, right? It's the
Yeah.
30. It's just gonna be kind of fun because their 25 didn't happen with COVID.
COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, let's get to some trivia.
All right. So the ultimate resolution of the mystery is lifted directly from a Sherlock Holmes novel. In the case of The Adventure of Silver Blaze, the criminal was also detected by a dog, one who did not bark at the criminal because they were previously acquainted. That gave rise to the phrase, the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime, which led to a novel and later a Broadway play of the same name. Yeah.
Oh.
Animals, they don't lie.
Yeah.
They know your scent.
So the scene where Tuvok reveals the true identity of the murderer is also reminiscent of Agatha Christie novels involving Detective Hercules Poirot. Poirot? Yeah, that
Poirot.
person.
Have you seen some of those
Poirot.
movies? Yeah, those are some good
No.
movies, like Death on the Nile and all those. Those are good.
Oh, yeah, I
That's what
saw
those are.
that.
Yeah, Murder Under the Sun. Those are some really
Okay.
fun movies, Amy. You need to go watch them. Like a lot of them have
Yes.
Maggie Smith in them and people
Oh,
like that, and James Mason, and like they're good movies.
okay.
Anyway,
All right.
I digress.
So Hercules, who gathers the suspects at the location of the crime to reveal the truth. In the story, Mystery at Hunter's Lodge also involved the final reveal of the murder by means of a dog, though this time by scent rather than by identity.
All right. Here we go. This is a long one, listeners. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. This episode's script was one about a half dozen written prior to the casting of Tom Paris. It therefore treats Paris in the same way as the character was originally conceived, as a habitual womanizer, like Kirk and Riker. Oh my God. I'm glad that I just, when I add to this podcast, I am not wrong. Sometimes.
That's true.
Sometimes. As a result, Jeri Taylor ultimately thought this episode marred the character of Paris, owing the fact to the story, despite making clear that Paris's actions were not exactly as depicted by the implanted memory device. And they seem to suggest that he came to
Bania.
Bania and began hitting on the wife of one of the planet's inhabitants. See, this is exactly what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor remarked, I was left concerned that our Tom Paris was not well served. His behavior was somewhat questionable. Yes, it was. It was very unattractive posturing for him. That's the kind of cliche the character could easily fall into. By that point, I was really fed up with it. It was very one-dimensional, very unattractive. Well, shit, you're the showrunner, woman. Change it. Sorry.
Well,
Oh, it's fine.
there were people above her that obviously you could
I
feel
know.
her frustration with
Yeah, but I'm
this.
glad that, Miss Troy, our perceptions are spot on.
Yes,
Yeah. Does that make you feel?
they are.
Yeah, I feel vindicated.
Yeah, I know. And thankfully we had Jeri Taylor because I think she, you know, and that was interesting that like this was written before we got Robbie Duncan McNeil.
Yeah,
Like this
yeah.
was, that was
You know,
pretty
like,
cool.
what was like they're just sitting around the writer's room writing script after script after script, and it's not even cast. I mean, Section 31, they wrote a whole, 2 seasons, I guess, for a TV series that we got one movie out of. But can you imagine that was all done, all written, nobody casted? And
Yeah.
same concept.
Mm-hmm. Well, during filming of the mind meld scene between Paris and Tuvok, Tim Russ suddenly threw back his head and launched into his best James Brown impression, yelling, "I'm feeling good."
Yeah. That reminds me of Tim Russ's very short cameo in Spaceballs, where
Oh,
they're combing the desert, and he's like, "We ain't found shit." I
yeah.
could, I want to see that blooper.
Yeah.
Um, Ultimately, LeVar Burton enjoyed having worked on this episode. In summation, he said, that was a very, very cool episode for a director. It was the first time in Star Trek history that we ever shot on black and white film stock. What I loved about that episode was not only the chance to do something that we've never done, but just the nightmare and the murder mystery aspect of it all. That was also the first mind meld we've ever seen in a long time. So shooting was very fun. And I think, other than, I think if you look at TNG, of course, we didn't have a Vulcan on the cast. I know Sarek and
Mhm.
Picard and Spock mind meld, but they're not detrimental to the story, right? They're just sharing a little something, something. But well, I guess in TNG with the Sarek episode, it was important. But you're right, we haven't just seen it being done in this way, and I think that's why it also lands well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, of the 7 scores that Dennis McCarthy wrote for Voyager's first season, he ultimately considered this episode to be his favorite, as well as the one that involved the most unusual Star Trek music. He noted it was very late 19th century impressionist style score. It was something so different from the normal Star Trek score that until Heroes and Demons, I was going to submit that one for Emmy consideration. Did you notice the music?
I I did, and I'm not even lying. I actually it was like, "Oh," how I noticed it? I said, "They don't do it this way anymore."
Yeah.
That was what crossed my mind. It's like,
Mm,
they don't make Star
mhm.
Trek like this anymore. They don't do it with the score, the swelling. TNG was so good for that, right? I
Yeah.
have so many of the CDs I used to get back then, and I still have them somewhere with, the music from the episodes because everyone just has all this really, really good, you can just listen to it music. So,
Yeah.
yeah, good job.
Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty, Christos. Well, that brings us to our final thoughts. What do we think about this episode? And we have previously covered, since this is part 2, TNG's suspicions. So we've got a tough act to follow with this.
Yeah, it is a tough act. In fact, I remember we created this because I wanted to review Suspicions. That's how
Yep.
we created this. That's how we created this whole series, listeners. So that's what happens when you get to be a host. You get to oh, we're going to
Y-
do this. This is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Um, so like I said, I enjoyed the episode a lot. It does have its flaws and borrowing a little bit from previous episodes that we discussed, but ultimately it's not a bad episode. And I do feel like I enjoy the second half a lot, a lot. But so it's a good episode. I'd probably give this a 6.5, 7. It's just a good mid episode. Um, Obviously, I'm never gonna say this episode is better than Suspicions. That tour de force for Gates McFadden, who is in every scene of that
Mhm.
episode, because it's all told from her perspective.
Right.
Gates had to work overtime that week.
Yeah.
So, Suspicions is my winner. Shocking, listeners. Amy,
Hmm.
what are your thoughts?
Yeah. It I don't know, 6 stars is yeah, that's about right where it goes. The rehashness of it and the campy playboy Paris, those things are pretty serious, and so I can't give it more stars, but, like we talked about, how fun it was at the beginning and the little character developments, with the doctor and those were really fun, with seeing Roxanne no, Dawson. What's her
Taurus.
character? Yeah, Torres. With Torres and Chakotay, I really like that. I lose the Maquis a little bit too soon, I think, with that. But anyways,
That's a good, that's a good callback real fast. I mean, just they quickly abandoned the secondary story that there was going to be this tension between the Maquis and the rest of the crew. And they just they just ditch it and assimilate them really fast. And that was, that's one of the things you hear a lot when they talk back and looking back during seasons 1 and 2 of Voyager. I mean, with the exception of like the Seska story, which leads us to Basic, they just the rest of them just kind of become part of the crew.
Yeah.
Happy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what he wanted. Yeah. So a good episode, not bad, not amazing.
Not better than Suspicions.
Not better than Suspicions. Like,
yay! I'll still buy you a drink this week.
Because it doesn't, we don't get the motives, like with Suspicions, there's, we understand.
Yeah. And there's this, it's also so much more of a thought-provoking episode. You explore some tropes, Ferengi scientists and technologies and the way that episode would go on to serve other episodes like the Set Part 2 and whatnot. And even, I mean, hell, metaphasic shields are mentioned in Picard season 3.
Right.
Activate metaphasic shield. I mean, like we talk about this, and when sometimes when we review these episodes and we compare and contrast at the end, the importance to canon, which we hear about on our Batless battles all the time. That's something you got to take into effect when you compare these against each other.
Yeah, agreed.
Calling all audiophiles and Trekkies. Prepare to boldly go where no podcast listener has gone before with the diverse soundscapes of BQN. We're not just a network, we're a universe of exploration, entertainment, and deep dives into the topics you love. Here's your star map to the sonic adventures awaiting you. Charting the Star Trek cosmos, we have all good things. Embark on a comprehensive journey through the entire Star Trek universe with insightful crew of Amy, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristin. From classic to current, they cover it all. Galaxy Class, Engage. Stephen and Stefan pilots this deep space mission, meticulously covering all aspects of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Infinite Diversity. Stay current with the newest Star Trek frontiers alongside Chrissy and Thad. Union Federation. Whether your allegiances lies with Starfleet or the Planetary Union, Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley offer a unified front discussing both current Star Trek and the truly Trek at heart, the Orville. Crack open that book with Peter and the Trek Book Club podcast. Delve into the rich tapestry of Star Trek's beta canon. What's the T-Bab? Christos spills the latest Trek news and fandom insights with an essential LGBTQIA+ perspective, complete with engaging guest interviews. Our visual voyages that you can find on YouTube as well as a podcast are Trexperts Quiz. Think you're a Starfleet Academy graduate? Test your knowledge with Davey and MC's challenging Star Trek quiz show. And the View Screen. Tune in live on Sundays for your dose of Trek-inspired talk show. Kelvin and Amy host new 8-week seasons each spring and fall. Beyond the final frontier, we have Bargain Bin Gamer. Davey and Mitch, your self-proclaimed gamer guides, lead you to digital treasures, unearthing and reviewing the most affordable video game gems. Cinema Z. Grab your metaphorical popcorn for Mark and Matt's cinematic deep dives, unearthing overlooked films that demand your attention. History with the Zalogis. In order to never repeat it, tune in as Chrissy and Jason deliver bite-sized snippets of historical events from around the globe. And Transformational Journeys. Lex Rosa explores what it means to embrace authenticity in the face of societal expectations. To unlock deeper levels of engagement, try our patron perks. The Hive Mind is where you can join our random script readings, live reaction shows, and roundtable discussions. And check out our back catalog of It's Green, a verdant cornucopia of topics offering diverse and engaging conversations, and Amy's Math Moments. Discover the subtle and not so subtle mathematical wonders woven into the fabric of Star Trek. You can stay connected to our ever-expanding galaxy of content by following at BQN Podcasts on Instagram, Bluesky, YouTube, and Discord. We appreciate you choosing BQN to fill your auditory needs. Thank you for listening. Assimilate the audio.
All right. Well, what are we going to be talking next time, Christos? Next time, not
Well,
next week.
yeah, and I hope I'll be back on the 17th. I have 3 weeks of travel starting tomorrow. But anyways, when all good things return, we predict it'll be August 17th, and we'll be doing an STLV recap, talking news events and all of the shenanigans that we got into at STLV 2025.
Yeah, that will be good. Well, we would love to hear what you thought of today's show, and there are many ways you can do this. You can join our Facebook group, the BQN Collective. You can join our Discord server, or you can follow the network on Bluesky and Instagram at BQN Podcasts to continue our discussion there. You can find the links and invite codes in our show notes. So, Christos, where can you find people when you aren't solving a mystery by mind melding?
Well, I can't find the people; they're going to find me. But but you can find me on the Instagrams. Probably is the most popular one at What's the T-Bev and at Greek Geek SD, and also those same handles on Bluesky. You can find me in our Discord server, on our Facebook group, the BQN Collective that Amy just mentioned, and in the Federation. So, or just DM me. You guys got me. You guys know how to find me. Amy, where can people find you when you're not trying to seduce the spouse of a scientist?
Well, when I'm not doing that, you can find me here on the network. We're co-hosting Union Federation, and that's where I'm given my review of all the new Trek that's coming out, Strange New Worlds. So find more of my thoughts there. Yeah, I'm on Facebook in our BQN Collective. Discord, there a lot more, so that's the best place to find me. Yeah.
Great. If you would like to help us keep all of our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can join our Hit It reaction show, script readings, and enjoy our special patron-only shows of It's Green and Amy's Math Moments. Visit patreon.com/BQN to get all the details and watch your messages.
Now, if becoming a patron isn't your thing, you can still support the show by sharing our posts on social media, talking about it with your friends, or hitting the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a star rating and a written review. It really does help others to find the show.
And at this time, we would like to thank our very own associate producer, JJ Thiestrom. Once again, JJ, thank you so much for your efforts on my tattoo, and we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday, actually, and looking forward to your 2025 Pride badges.
Yeah.
Special thanks to Graham Kelly for our opening and closing music, and to our very own Kelvin, who is in the air as we record on his way to Las Vegas. And he actually did the cover art for this episode yesterday while traveling. So,
yes.
Kelvin, your devotion to the podcast is not unnoticed. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you'll join us as we search out
all good things.